news. What are you doing this Boxing Day? Maybe you are going out to photograph what is quite a spectacle. It is a countryside, very quaint countryside tradition, the meeting of hunts across the country. It is controversial, though, and often brings clashes between organisers and animal welfare groups.
Well, this year is no different, and we'll be going live later to the hunt meet in Lewes, where campaigners have tried to stop the hunt meeting by hiring the main street for a wheelbarrow race.
Yeah, we'll explain all that a little later on. But it does raise temperatures across the country, this topic. And we're asking, should there be a ban on the Boxing Day hunt meet?
Well, joining us to debate this now, I'm pleased to welcome Chief Executive of the Countryside Alliance, Tim Bonner, and Social Media and Comms Manager for the Animal Rights Campaign, Peter. Jennifer White, welcome to you both. Let's start with Jennifer, first of all. What is it about these traditional hunts which you feel are so outdated?
Well, we need to remember that hunting with dogs is already illegal in England, and for very good reason, because frankly, there isn't anything much crueler than setting a pack of hounds on a terrified animal. But trail hunting is just a smokescreen for illegal hunting activity. And because the dogs are still trained to recognize the scent of a fox, it is unbearably predictable that as soon as they are let loose into an environment where there are real foxes, they're going to deviate from the laid scent and get distracted by the real animals. And that's why it is so important that England strengthens the Hunting Act in order to close this loophole once and for all.
Yeah, Tim, what do you make of what Jennifer is saying there, that trail hunting, it is just a smokescreen, and many foxes every year are still getting hunted down and killed by the hounds in what is, say many, a despicable act of cruelty?
Look, hunting was banned nearly 20 years ago. I and others thought that was the wrong thing to do at the time, but that is the fact, that is the law as it stands at the moment. It's a perfectly straightforward piece of legislation. If you chase a mammal with dogs, you commit an offence. Hundreds of people have been convicted over the last nearly 20 years. Most of them actually have had nothing to do with hunts, because those hunts are operating perfectly legally. They're doing what they were told at the time. They're going out, they're hunting artificial trails, they're not hunting foxes. And this really isn't about foxes, and this debate never really has been. It's about people, and it's about the fact that there are elements of the animal rights movement and elements of the political left, the Labour Party, who cannot cope with the fact that hunts still exist, that they are still meeting today, that tens of thousands of people will be going out to support them. So I think it was bizarre, frankly, that we're really thinking again about going back to legislate further on this issue. But have no doubt, if they do, there'll be a fight.
Tim, you say that, quite rightly, that it was banned, but there are various legal loopholes that...
There's no loophole. It is an offence. It's an offence to chase a wild mammal with a dog.
It is an offence to chase, but there are still legal loopholes which huntsmen can get round.
Well, I'm afraid I think that's just a fiction. If you read the legislation, it is really straightforward. And the idea that hundreds and hundreds of people can be convicted under the legislation, which they have been, and yet there's a loophole in it, doesn't make any sense. This isn't about the law. This isn't about foxes. This isn't about hounds. This is about politics. And frankly, if we think that we're going to revert to the politics of 13 years ago, and the Labour Party is going to bring in legislation that's going to cause massive upset in the countryside, when there are so many other far more important issues in the country, let alone in rural communities, I mean, frankly, I think this is madness.
Jennifer, as Tim points out, tens of thousands of people will be going on hunts today. Clearly, those people find it appealing, and they must think there is some benefit to hunting. Do you completely disagree with that?
Yeah, I mean, hunting is animal cruelty, plain and simple. And if people were going into the countryside to chase dogs and cats, it wouldn't be called sport. It would be called animal abuse. And that is exactly what it is when it happens to foxes. You know, these animals have the exact same capacity to feel pain and love and joy as the dogs and cats that we keep in our homes. And they deserve more protection. And the bottom line is that foxes are being killed every single year from these hunts. And that's why more has to be done to afford them protection.
Tim, what are the benefits then? Because, of course, it is a tradition that's been going on for hundreds of years, and perhaps to ban it would really upset a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a hugely important activity for lots of people in the countryside. They adore their hounds. They love going out into the countryside, having access to that. This is an activity which humans have been carrying out for thousands of years, and it's integral to the social context of many communities. We could have an argument about fox control, the need to manage the countryside, the need to protect threatened species, and how you do that. But that was a debate that we had 20 years ago. I'm very sad that hunting was taken apart and made illegal. But the fact is that there are thousands of foxes being killed in the countryside every day, every month, every year, for the purposes of protecting the countryside as a whole. That's understood. That's accepted.
Tim,
we could have that debate,
Tim,
but at the moment, this is about politics.
Tim, I just want to ask you, because we're running out of time, as usual. Do foxes get killed every year due to hunting? Are you telling me that there's no foxes that die during the year due to hunting?
No, I haven't said that. I've said the law's really clear. The law is really clear.
Yeah, we know. Well,
if you pursue
the law's
that fox,
clear, but do
then you
foxes
could be
die
convicted
at the hands of a bunch of hounds every year?
At a bunch of hounds. Well, yeah, there have been convictions, and people have been convicted, and the courts have done their job. That is something I regret because I don't think personally that was either necessary or clever at the time. But the fact is, we're not talking about that. Apparently, we're now going to ban an activity which is exactly what the Labour Party told people to do in 2004 when it passed this act. And now we want to ban just turning up in a town square with a pack of hounds and sitting on a horse. And this is political. This isn't about the countryside. This isn't about animal welfare. This is an attack on a way of life. And it's something that the Labour Party says it wants to move away from, this sort of divisive politics in the countryside. I hope it does, because it would be a really foolish thing for them to do.
Does Tim have a point? I mean, the spectacle of what we see on Boxing Day, it is lovely for many people. It is a lovely sight.
I mean, there is just no place for hunting in modern Britain. And, we know that there have been over 400 convictions for hunting since 2010. And foxes are dying. And these are amazing animals. And they deserve so much more than to be torn apart, sometimes disemboweled while they're still alive by a pack of hounds. And more needs to be done, such as strengthening the Hunting Act, in order to give them that protection.